Alright guys, got the green shirt on for the green truck today. Well anyway, before we get into the video, I just want to say, in case you haven't noticed, I changed my name to High Voltage Diesel. And why did I do that? Well, that's because the other name was no longer economically viable. Hope you like the new and improved channel. So here we go, let's get into this video. Check it out. Finally got this little Honda 4-cylinder ready to go in this big old truck here. Oh yeah. Almost ashamed to put it in the truck. It looks so nice just sitting there by itself. Didn't really do much progress. Been quite a while since I posted a video. Haven't really been feeling the whole thing for a while. But nothing's really changed other than the other frame rail. Took me about 2 months to get this frame rail back from the shop. I finally got it, and it only took me 2 hours to put it on, so now I got both sides of the frame doubled on this truck. Still got to put all this stuff back in. All the rotten dinosaurs I took out of the oil tank here got to go back in once the tank is hung back up. Came out pretty nice. Pristine paint job on this thing, guys. I mean, this is immaculate. Gives it character, you know. That's usually what someone says when they mess something up. But yeah. Check this out. Thought everybody would kind of get a kick out of this. Those of you who don't know what this is the inside of an oil filter off of the old International over there. Got about 10,000 miles on this oil filter. Pulled it off, cut it open because I was just curious on what it looked like. And there is like not one spot of metal to be seen on this thing anywheres on either side. So super good news on that. I run the truck pretty hard. She works just about every day this time of the year. The real test is going to be when I cut this oil filter open, because I don't know anything about this motor other than hearing it run for about 10 minutes when I bought it and a couple videos he made of me. But it looks like a good motor. I don't think I'll have anything to worry about. But I still want to cut the filter open and see what's in there, because it would be really nice to know. A couple days ago I took all this garbage off and pulled the jakes off, set all the valve lash, set the jake lash, all that stuff, all that fun stuff. Took like 3 hours. Didn't film none of it, of course. There's already tons and tons and tons of videos on YouTube on how to do that, so there's no sense in clogging up the internet world with the same thing over and over and over again. So nothing too major was wrong. I think the biggest thing that was wrong was the exhaust valves that were supposed to be set at 30 thousandths. Most of them were like 25 thousandths, so they were like 5 thousandths off or so. The intakes were all, you know, I think the biggest one I was able to fit in there was a 16, and those get set at 15 thou, so nothing too wrong with that. But at least now everything's torqued. I know what I had. Didn't see anything to look worried about. So got the clutch and all that stuff on, motor mounts. She's ready to go. So the plan is I have the Amish coming over here with a giant payloader that's capable of lifting 12,000 pounds, which I guess really isn't giant, but, and he's gonna lift it up and put it in the truck for me, because the skid steer just ain't strong enough to lift this engine up. All I could do is get the forks under it and curl it just enough to move it. It's not strong enough to actually lift it at all, so there's no way I'm putting it in the truck with that. But when he lifts it, as soon as he gets it off the ground, I've already pulled most of them off, I have to take this motor mount off right here and replace it with that one. It should be ready to go. Yeah, got some more progress on the giant Peterbilt model truck. It's all plastic. All right. Yeah, really got some progress, huh? Too bad you guys didn't get to see this motor getting put in this thing. There's a lot to pay attention to. I had a giant payloader come over here, like huge, like the driver was like sitting head level with the upstairs windows on the house, so like it was massive. It lifted this 3406 like it was paperweight, because the old New Holland wasn't quite strong enough. So yeah, I didn't record any of that, of course. Excuses. Yeah, guys, there's just too much to try to pay attention to doing this kind of stuff. You know, I could have just set a camera up, but you know, if this motor got dropped on the oil pan because I was too busy having my attention elsewhere, like, this would just be completely junk. And it wouldn't really be the end of the world, but when you're broke like me and your budget on everything is a maximum of $5, like, seriously, like, yeah, it might look like I'm rich by doing this stuff, but like, I'm putting junk hoses back on this, and I'm filling the thing up with water, like, instead of the Caterpillar approved antifreeze. But that's only temporary though. Trust me, I know better than that stuff. What I like to do is, when I do these engine swaps, I like to fill it with water, take it around the block, empty it. Fill it with water, take it around the block, empty it. And do that as many times as it takes until when I empty it, the water gets cleaned out. And yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna put all new hoses and stuff like that on it, of course. But I just want to make sure, I want the stupid thing to run, and I at least want to drive it and make sure like that it's not a total loss, because technically I don't know anything about this engine. It looks like it's a good engine, and you know, I even looked at it really thoroughly, but I never really drove it or put it under load. And you know, before I end up spending all my hard-earned cash on, you know, hoses and stuff like that, I at least want to make sure that like nothing's a total loss. Guys, to be honest, like, I've never driven this truck. I have no idea. Like, these rear ends could be completely garbage for all I know. That transmission over there could be completely junk. I mean, it doesn't seem like it. I pulled the plugs and everything, and the oil looks clean. I don't see anything major to worry about, but I don't know. I have no idea anything about this truck as far as driving it goes. So I mean, I could drive it for the first time and the power divider could blow a hole right through the side of the case. Who knows? So I'm just throwing her back together as cheap as possible just to get it to drive for now, and then once it passes a couple tests, then we'll start sinking maybe $4.90 into it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it's coming out so far. We got our radiator all painted black. Man, this thing's looking sweet. Looking real good. Everything's gonna look good except that powder steering pump. Wow. I think you're actually supposed to keep these painted because it keeps the radiation contained in the radiator. Something like that. I had the black paint out, so I figured I'd do some touch up on the frame of this thing. Some spots getting a little crusty on it. Definitely needs to be redone again. Just tried out some grass marking paint. That's Caterpillar yellow. It looks pretty freaking sweet on there. Alright guys, I do want to share something real quick though. There's a thing that has to do with like I'm just gonna list off a few of the conspiracies that I could think of on the top of my head. The Area 51, the swine flu, 9/11, COVID-19, the ISIS thing, and world peace. All these conspiracy theories, global warming, electric cars, all this conspiracy stuff. And I can think of so many more. I just can't think right now. But I can't think because the sun is beating off of my bald head and it's getting my brain hot. So I think us bald people kind of overheat a little more. But anyway, all those conspiracy theories I just mentioned have something to do with this thing. If it wasn't for this thing right here, whatever this is, there would probably be world peace. Nobody would care about politics or, you know, who gets elected in president and all that stuff if it wasn't for this thing. I don't know what this thing is, but it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I went to fill this radiator with radiation the other day, and I filled it in the cap, and it would not come out of the bottom. It filled this whole tank completely up, and it wouldn't come out of the bottom hose. I'm shoving stuff in there trying to see if I got some kind of blockage or anything, and there wasn't. Well, come to find out, I took this hose off, I put water in there, and it comes out. So somewheres along the line there's a wall between the top and the bottom, which I believe possibly has something to do with why that old motor got hot and blew up. Like this thing here, like as soon as I get money, I'm gonna smash this thing off with a hammer and like just put a regular pipe on it. So yeah, guys, right here, this is the cause of all them conspiracies, and getting rid of this would be the solution to world peace, guaranteed. If anybody knows what this thing is, please enlighten me. I really want to know. Peterbilt air sweep, Peterbilt air junk, 07-0359 or 2. Junk, garbage, something to do with the EPA, Area 51, all that stuff for sure, guaranteed. All right, yeah, just doing an update video, kind of, basically. Well, it's like 2 minutes ago I just filmed that, but anyway, yeah, so I got my transmission in here, and I promise you, just like you'll promise me that you'll subscribe and like this video, that this is the authentic, original 100% Road Ranger red, made by Rust-Oleum. I don't care what kind of red it is, man, this looks nice. You know, I might as well paint it. That truck's gonna be so nice, I'm not even gonna want to use it. It looks good, but I'm really doing a half-assed job on a lot of the paint, to be honest. Like, I ain't chipping all that stuff off. It ain't a 100-point show truck, but man, it's really gonna look good. Like, it's really gonna look good. You know, just kind of half-assedly doing a lot of this stuff. So I got the old hood all dug out here, and gonna do some work to that. This hood is definitely far from pristine. Some corrosion holes in the aluminum. But anyway, while I got it off, I don't have to, but while I got it off, I'm gonna go ahead and spray this with the pink stuff. I don't want to say the name of any of this stuff correctly because I'll probably get flagged for some kind of nonsense, copyright or something. But anyway, I want to go over this with the pink stuff and you know, go over it with some black paint, because it'll just look a little bit, it'll look that much better. It'll be worth taking the 10 minutes for sure. Look at that stuff melt right off. I love this stuff. Poiple Poyer. Yeah, this stuff works really good for melting off any kind of garbage. We'll let that soak for like 5 minutes, then we'll pressure squash it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Look a little bit different from the last time you've seen it, huh? Yeah, buddy. Pretty much got mostly everything back together except for the interior and all the wiring and stuff. Got the new Rust-Oleum Reman transmission back in. It really is Reman. I probably already showed you the tag. It's actually got a Reman tag on it. That was when it was done though. Drive shaft, PTO, hydraulic pump, got everything back together. Pretty much everything hooked up. I gotta take the duct tape off. Got all this stuff in. Nothing's really hooked up yet. Got all them wires all hooked up. Connect those wires. That's how I'm gonna leave it forever. Yup, it is. Pretty much all the hoses. I actually lucked out, surprisingly. I didn't think I was gonna get this lucky. But pretty much all the original lines. The only thing original that I can't put on this thing is the throttle linkage from the gas pedal deal back here to the throttle, because obviously an A model pump sits back quite a bit further, like back to about here. And the B model's up here, but I gotta figure something out with that. But surprisingly, like the air compressor hose and all that stuff, you know, most of that fit. I had a hell of a time trying to cobble something together with this power steer in here, because before the pump was down here on A, and that thing, the reservoir was in a different spot. It was back a little further, and the air compressor was down, so that line was able to come out of the bottom, but not anymore. So I had to kind of, I want to use the original hoses as much as I can. I want to do just enough to drive this truck for a little bit, because I don't know if this engine's any good technically. I mean, I'm pretty sure it is, but you know, I don't want to spend $800 getting all new hoses made and then find out this engine's junk and then have to do something completely different. So that looks like shit, but it'll work for now. And as you can see by these wires I got hooked up, it looks like we might be thinking about starting her. Got the big lugs coming off of the starter. Got the starter in. And I just siphoned 15 gallons of fuel out of the old International and put it in this tank. So, I mean, come on guys, you wouldn't think I'd try to start this without you, right? So, really the only thing I have left is to prime the fuel system. I kind of got a little trick up my sleeve for that. I'm sure a lot of you seasoned guys probably already know that or have better things, but these things here on cats, I've never seen one that was any good. These things are all junk. They always leak, they pop off, they break, so I try not to rely on them too much. Alright guys, I'm gonna put you up here on the noggin toboggan, that way you can see everything I see. That way if I start this thing up and it has a knock, everyone can witness me having a stroke. Hopefully my loved ones will post this video. Anyway, so I got my oil can right here and it's all filled up with diesel fuel. So I'm gonna fill this line up here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Not that it's too exciting. This is the main draw line here. I'm gonna fill that baby up. Kind of a pain doing it this way, but I think it's worth it in the long run. We got our filter down here. I'm gonna stash that there for a minute. I think it's just worth taking a few minutes and filling these lines up, which I think we're pretty good. Oh yeah, look at that. We're good. Yeah, we're actually in pretty good shape. That line's full. Honestly, I'm not really gonna mess around with too many other lines here, because this motor ran and it got taken out and then that was it. It's not like, and none of this stuff got taken apart or anything like that. Like none of these fuel hoses that are actually on the engine got taken off. So that's just the return. I had to go down to the hydraulic shop and just buy this fitting right here to connect them together for now, just to get it started. So we're gonna create probably a, oh, I actually hear fuel in the tank. Look at that. Guys, I think this thing's gonna fire right off. Yeah, we're building pressure. I think we're good. I think this thing's probably gonna fire right off. Yep. I mean, that didn't take long to build pressure. I think just putting a little bit of fuel in these lines, if you know, like when I did the A on the International, I had all these lines off and I filled all of them up. I took that one off and that one I just filled them all up, put them back on, and that just seems like it's just gives it a little bit of a head start rather than pumping all that air through the system. I've had the battery charger on these two batteries right here for like 4 days. I don't even know if these batteries are any good or not, but we're gonna hope that they are. Actually, let's switch these out for these. Yeah, that's real smart. I don't know how that ended up there. Wow. Huh. I'm gonna take these. Ugh. Wow. Wow. Definitely not young anymore. Wonder if I can find a wire brush. It's probably gonna take me about 8 hours. Oh no, look at that. Wow, that's like a miracle. Actually find something around here. Yeah, that makes life a lot easier. Sandpaper. Oh yeah, much easier. Alrighty. These things aren't in the best of condition, but I'm gonna try with what I got so far. I really don't feel like pulling everything off of the old International right now. I got good batteries on that, but I'm hoping that between these two batteries and the jump pack, that'll do it. One could only hope. The only ground that I have is this yellow one right here. This is for the on and off for the injection pump. So we're gonna ground that for good. And everything else will be switched. Well, this is the solenoid for the starter. And then this is the fuel. This should turn the fuel on the injection pump if everything works right, I believe. I think power turns the pump on instead of holding it off, so I have no idea what's going to happen here. I am just going to try a quick bump. Ooh, yeah, I think we're going to need more juice, guys. Oh, all right, well, I'm going to take this cardboard out of here before a catastrophe happens. I think that cardboard served its purpose. There. Should be clear of everything. And take this tape off of here. Definitely on this side. I'm gonna get a runaway block too. Just a 6x6 or something, or 2x6 or some kind of board. Just in case this thing runs away. I can put something in front of it. The turblet still spins nice and free. Alright guys, so I ended up taking the batteries out of the International. Hate moving batteries around. These ones just ain't gonna make the cut. These were sitting dead, completely dead, in the middle of like January and February last year. The one says like 11 volts and the other one says 9, but I think they're pretty much whooped. But anyway, I hooked the Cat Racing batteries up, Caterpillar, to the Caterpillar, and we have success. I'm not gonna go too crazy because I don't want this thing to start yet. But it shouldn't start because there's no power to the solenoid on the injection pump. But we're just gonna do another little walk around, make sure everything looks good. I have the runaway board here. If something were to happen, that shouldn't. I mean, it's not Alpine green, so it shouldn't happen, but you never know. Anything's possible. Got our downspout on this. I wanted to put it up, but it was blowing like right at that switch, so we're gonna just aim it down for now. I think that's pretty much everything. Everything's clear, still full of water. I really think we're in good shape. Get that out of there. I really think this thing's gonna light right off. I really hope it does. And I hope it doesn't knock. I think I'm gonna top this off a little bit because that's been leaking. I just want to make sure there's fluid in there so I don't burn up the power steering pump. And I think we're good to go. Okay, here we go. Alright, so here's the deal. I can't remember yesterday if I said on the video, camera went limp for a minute. Can't remember yesterday if I said in the video, the truck don't have any power steering. When I take the steering wheel and I try to turn it that way, it immediately fights me and goes back to center. When I take it and try to turn to the left, it immediately fights me and goes back to center. So it's almost like the pump or something was reverse what it was supposed to be. So I went on my phone earlier and looked, because I always take pictures for references. I looked at the pump right here to see and make sure I had the lines correctly and everything was done exactly the way it was taken apart. So then I did some other thinking about it for a day. This a couple days later, and well, it's raining out right now, so I'm not really gonna show you. But anyway, anybody that is somewhat familiar with a cat motor knows that A model and a B model, the pump on a B model is closer to the front of the motor and the air compressor sits up higher. On an A model, the pump, there's a shaft and the pump sits back more towards the firewall and the air compressor is lower, and typically the power steering pump is opposite of the air compressor, whether it's high or lower. And I got thinking that, man, you know, it almost seems like the frickin' thing spins backwards or something, because it's doing, instead of helping me turn the wheel, it's fighting me. So I put a post on one of the 3406 cat groups that I'm on Facebook, and well, lo and behold, like 5 people immediately chimed in and said a model and a B model spin opposite direction. Alright, so I looked up, this is a Vickers veinless pump, it's called, and this thing was like covered in grease, like I've super, like so much grease. I degreased it and I actually see these arrows here on either side. So I watched a YouTube video actually on this exact pump, and come to find out, you take this pump apart and all you do is take this plate off and flip it around. Like these arrows here, you just take it and take it off, flip it, and put it right exactly down right on these dowel pins, and that reverses the direction. Well, I mean, it doesn't reverse the direction, but it reverses the flow or whatever, because before, like, these bigger holes would be on that side. It doesn't change anything like where the lines go or anything like that. So that's the story on this. I thought I would share that with you guys because I'm sure somebody watches my videos probably has the same interest that I do in trucks, and this might actually help somebody out. So I'm just gonna focus on putting this pump together exactly the way I took it apart, minus flipping that around, and I think we're gonna be in good shape. This thing was so dirty, it took me quite a while to degrease it. This thing here I took off exactly this way, put it back on exactly the way I took it off. Spring, this O-ring goes right there. This thing went on like this. Four bolts go in. It's a pretty easy ordeal, actually. I'm gonna hope this works. I'm pretty confident it's gonna work because finding the video was switching direction on a Vickers veinless pump, which is exactly what this is. Or vein pump, not veinless pump. And the fact that I found like literally the exact same pump, I'm pretty darn confident that this is probably gonna work. And I'm pretty confident that, like, you always got mixed answers on the groups. That's one thing that I don't like about a lot of the groups, because you ask a question and you get like 10 different answers. But I had like 10 people say the B and the A spin opposite directions, the pump wise. And then I had like 3 people say it was airlocked. Well, I don't think it was airlocked because every line that was in there had fluid in it. I mean, I've put power steering together, you know, pumps and stuff, systems together a lot of times in my life, and I've never had a problem with an airlock. I think airlocks are one of those things that are like super rare. I mean, you put them together and you prime the lines, you fill everything up with oil the same way I did with the fuel system yesterday. And I've literally, like, you start the truck up, you go back and forth with the wheel a few times. And I mean, sometimes you need to put it up on a jack or whatever. And like, that's all it is. You check your reservoir and then you're good. So, well, I'm going to throw this back on the truck in a day or two when it stops raining, and hopefully I'll have power steering. I just got to torque these down. I don't know what the torque specs are on them. I'll have to look that up. Just have to torque those bolts down and should be good to go. All right. We got another Rust-Oleum reman going on here. Okay, so I got all these bolts torqued down to 50 foot-pounds. That's what they call for. I got everything hooked back up the way it was. I got this reservoir right about there with motor oil. I believe that's what these call for now. And yeah, so we're gonna do another test run here, and hopefully we have power steering this time, because if we don't, I don't really know. The only other thing I can think of is now that we've flipped directions, maybe we have to flip the lines, but I'm not sure. I got everything hooked up the way it came off, so I'm gonna prime this thing a couple times because that seemed to help it start better last time. I'm sure it's probably got a little air leak in the system somewhere, because I am using junk hoses. Got all the batteries and everything hooked up. See what happens. Actually have movement in there now. Last time we didn't have any movement. It was just stagnant with the engine running, so I think that's a good sign. Hoses leak anyway, as you can see here. I'm going to get these hoses replaced now that I know it works, because the next step was going to be eliminating the power steering altogether, because I'm not spending $800 on a pump. What it's Alright guys, well I think we're gonna call it good for this one. So hopefully in the next video you'll see some more progress done. I mean, the truck is pretty much ready to drive at this point. Basically got to finish up all the wiring. I got a few small air leaks I got to fix here and there, and put the exhaust on and just all the little stupid stuff like that, and should be ready to go. So hopefully in the next video, it's hopefully gonna come pretty soon. This was supposed to be done months ago, but I guess life happens. It is what it is. But you know, here we are about 6 months past when I wanted to have it done. Yeah, hopefully I'll actually get to drive it a little bit this year. I mean, it's the end of September, so there's still a couple good months left in the year to be able to drive the darn thing. So that'd be real nice. Wishful thinking. There's actually like a show, I think, in the middle of October I want to try to take it to. Not a truck show, but just a car show local down here. I'd like to try to take it to, at least just to get it out. But probably going to be my everyday driver for a little while, just to work the bugs out of it. I'm going to replace a hose here and there and just kind of get it, you know, now that I know, once I know it's not going to be a complete loss. And then after that I'll start putting a dump box on it and getting that kind of situated. But until then, I'm just gonna kind of drive it the way it is for now and just kind of tool around with it, and you know, replace little things as they come for a while. And maybe next year I'll get the box on it. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But whatever happens, I will keep you guys updated. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.